Hello, everybody. This is Debo's Movie Reviews here, and this week's I'll be reviewing For a Few Dollars More, starring, of course, Clint Eastwood as the man with no name. This time, for some reason, he's called Mako, and of course, there's Jean Maria Volante as El Indio, and Lee Van Cleef as Colonel Douglas Mortimer, or ex-colonel. Can't remember which, if he was a Yankee or Confederate, which didn't really say much in the movie. All I just pretty much had a story on was how the how both how the two bounty hunters, being Mortimer and Man with No Name, of course, being just riding around there, sort of all for the West, dispensing their own brand of justice for a quick buck, and they both reluctantly team up to go after this top outlaw named El Indio, who's kind of like a leader of a gang, kind of like the kind of like a Dutch Vanderlyn type kind of outlaw. I mean, oof. I gotta say, between Lee Van Cleef's portrayal of Mortimer versus Angel Eyes, which this one was more good guy instead of the straight up villain he was in villain, which, given how this one was a sequel, whereas Good, Bad, and Ugly was a prequel. Which, of course, Good, Bad, and Ugly will be for another review. But I gotta say, pretty excellent and memorable sequences, like at the beginning when you get Mortimer going after his outlaw first quarry in the movie, and he's going to and then of course he rips off the blank the tarp of his horse, and it's just with all sorts of guns and all, like a rifle, a varmint rifle, which surprising because for something that's 1870s or early 80s, when pulp actions weren't invented until 1893 with the Winchester 93 by John Browning. And then, of course, he had that whole little implement with a rifle stock on a wider style bunt line pistol, and he just takes down that one desperado with that shot instead of whipping the old Winchester. Whereas Eastwood just had like his old reliable Colt single action army 6-shooter equalizer. And whew, it almost even more memorable parts, like one where he goes in town for another outlaw, and then he looks for a certain room to spy on him, and he runs a old innocent bystander out of a hotel, and he's just like, as you think that the outlaw's in that room, but now he just ran some poor guy out of a room just so he could get a shot. And then of course he had the whole scenario where they were luckily team up, which with another memorable scene where he's had that guy with the luggage, and he's like, and dude's getting confused and make up his mind, can't make up his mind who to listen to. Then there's another scenario where they take turns shooting each other's hats off. You know, probably off. And then, of course, like with the same strategy of the first movie, old Blondie teams up, infiltrates the gang, where Mortimer just does this being the smart tactician, just plans out strategies. And then of course there's that one scene where they both get their covers blown. From how India was pretty much a kind of a lot more flawed from outlaw, because he just finds out the one girl who he couldn't have, and Rhoda Raver died and hooked up with him because India was not no Robin Hood outlaw. I mean, yeah, if you've seen it, you'd know. And had a little more memorable scene where he's shooting where Eastwood shoots even more memorable scene, like for example, a movie or how Mortimer reading the Bible on the train, and then he stops at one stop that it's not on the original train route, and then of course that another badass scene with Eastwood's character just spins around in the office chair, and then turns around in the office chair and claps for the outlaws. And of course that cantankerous old guy who living under a train tracks because he refuses to move, just so he could just claiming that he have intel on El Indio and Mortimer. I can't remember which one, but he just runs about trains because he refuses to give up his land under inner domain. But otherwise, I just viewed it like, really, dummy, you could have just took the offer. I mean, yeah, I respect that because that's like in reason for standing ground. Stand ground, but then again, that was just plain suffering instead of just taking an actual stand, like how some Hollywood depictions of Jesse James had with the railroad company in that deal. And back to the movie where it's about the differences between Mortimer and Angel Eyes, and how Mortimer was a good guy and Angel Eyes was the villain. And that about do it for this week. Alright, y'all. I hope y'all like, subscribe, and enjoy, and I'll keep dishing them out.